So I'm just going to read from my testimony that I wrote on my website, hoping that that was all I had to do to help save the world, but we need to talk some more. Everyone needs to talk some more, and we need to start making better decisions. My website is www.betterdaysolutions.com. June the 12th, 2017. With fear and trepidation, I will write my truths. The world needs to hear my story and know what is going on under the surface of society. The silent spiritual war of suburbia. The unseen dimension of this existence. The force that controls civilization by controlling your decisions, and you don't even know it. I'm tired of hiding in the shadows. It's time to shine my light in the darkness to help others see the truth and the way out of this. I will start with introducing myself. My name is Angela Hargrave. Until 1 year ago, I lived a normal life. I was your typical awakened person, watching the chemtrails, Facebook protesting about government conspiracy, 9/11, poisoned water, fluoride, coal seam gas, and all of that. And you think you're awakened, you think you know how they're controlling you and the population, and you think the rest of the population doesn't know. But there's stuff you don't know as well. My true awakening was like a punch in the head. The universe had been screaming a message at me for quite a while. They kept telling me to wake up, and it was huge, screaming at me to wake up. And I'm like, well, as any person, my ego told me I was already awakened. Exactly. I thought I already know more than most people. I already see more than most people. I look back now and I see there were so many signs. My whole life they'd been trying to get me to see them. Repetitive numbers, deja vu, vivid dreams with messages that help me in life. Who are they, you might ask? I used to refer to it as just the universe when I knew things. The universe helped me. It was the universe. When my true awakening happened, they told me what or who they are. The collective consciousness of all that has been and all that will be. So they are energy. They are the energy we put out into the universe. The energy that every alien species puts into the universe. And there's a lot more positive than negative, which is really good to know. Right now, Earth is very negative. You can see it everywhere. You can see it in the wars they create. You can see it in the news stories they choose to promote and show to the people. You can see it in the way they dehumanize everyone. No one's really worth anything anymore. They'll sell us off, they'll sell our jobs off, Anyway, I'll keep going. The collective also told me who I was. A very powerful indigo child, a mystic and a healer. They told me I was love and that I was not alone. And I hope I'm not alone. I've met people through Facebook, which is fantastic to make me know that I'm not alone. But in my community and the people that surround me, I feel very alone. And it was easy for them to say, "You're crazy. That didn't happen. Those things are wrong. The things you think are wrong." And you know what? It's not, because it's me. And everyone's right in their own way. The things I think are wrong because they're covering their asses, really, because they don't want people to know the things they do to humanity. Anyway, I knew I'd cry. Anyway, I can't get through this and I'm only one page down. The collective showed me that my existence, or one like me, was prophesized long ago.
This knowledge shed a lot of light on my life and why I felt so alone and why I never really fit in. I believe I'm not the only one who has experienced such mystical unraveling of truths. The collective talked of others and how the universe likes to repeat itself and how they could make another like me. It would have been easy to have locked myself in a mental asylum and doped myself up with antipsychotic medication and go back to sleep. Instead, they asked me to feel everything and become the purest self I could be and use my pain to transform not just myself, but everyone around me by giving my energy away and choosing to give my energy away instead of having it taken from me. The collective told me not to be offended by the prophecies. It's not my religion anyway. I was prophesized in the Bible. Of all things, the Bible. The Bible to me isn't a code to live by. It's a control device that the cabal, the illuminati, have created to control society. But in it are little smidges, little bits of truth that were somehow intermingled. Prophets and seers managed to get little bits in there, and maybe even whole chapters were real, and some were taken out and some were added. But every religion has a bit of truth in it. That's what I've found. It's not just Christianity, it's everything. And I don't know how everything you believe becomes reality and goes back to the collective somehow and comes back to us somehow. I was prophesied in Revelations 12, the woman and the dragon. A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She was pregnant and cried out in pain, and she was about to give birth. Then another sign appeared in heaven, an enormous red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns on its head. Its tail swept a third of the stars out of the sky and flung them to the earth. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment he was born. She gave birth to a son, a male child who will rule all the nations with an iron scepter, and her child was snatched up to God and to his throne. The woman fled into the wilderness to a place prepared for her by God, where she might be taken care of for 1,260 days. Now, all of this isn't set in stone. That's how they saw it. Every choice you make creates a different future. Every decision you make creates a different future. And they asked me to do something. They asked me to leave my children. And I made the wrong decision. And now I'm on a different path that isn't prophesized. The whole world's on a different path that isn't prophesized, pretty much from the end of Revelations. We're on a precipice. We can go either direction. There's no one way that this world's going to head. We're not headed to hell. We're not headed to heaven on earth. We're right in the middle. And we have to make some decisions, and we have to make better decisions. It was also in Revelation 17, Babylon, the prostitute on the beast. One of the 7 angels who had 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by the many waters. With her the kings of earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries." Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. They saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns.
The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittered with gold, precious stones and pearls. She had a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her head was a mystery: Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and the abominations of the earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people and the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. And this is why they told me not to be offended, because it's not my religion anyway. I pretty much opened the Bible and it flipped open to these pages, and I sat and I read it, and there was more about my children, actually. Isaiah and Justice. I don't know that I wrote it in here. Maybe you guys can give me some details on it. Something about my child with red in his eyes, and Isaiah who speaks with a forked tongue. There's a lot more to this reality than you realize. The different dimensions that we live in, interweaving with each other, and just constant flow. It's crazy and it's beautiful, and that's why I've sat here, because I want people to see and realize the beauty of the world we're in, and to stop taking it for granted, because it's not going to last if we don't stop. If we don't turn around, it's not going to last. They told me how the Bible had some truths, but had been altered and used to control humankind. I was shown how each religion was the same. We missed the message and instead started worshipping the messenger. The collective showed me all the pieces of the puzzle and gave me many signs, so many that I missed a few while trying to live a normal life, raising children and hiding in the shadows from the darkness that I had encountered, trying to save my life and figure out why this was happening to me. I was told I was a powerful indigo child, a mystic, a healer, a shaman, and a Heyoka empath. My power was stronger than I knew, and that I was one of God's strongest warriors, and I was here for a purpose, and that I had agreed to this soul path before my incarnation on earth. The people who wronged me had agreed to play that part before they came also, which is hard to imagine. A soul choosing a life of evil before it even came here, choosing a life of having to experience and make choices, and it's ego that controls their choices, to be controlled by ego and to live a life in fear, and to even not even ever know yourself, really, to be separated from your soul to a point where you just do as you're told. I had to forgive and show them love, even with the atrocities I had witnessed. It is all how it had to be for humanity to evolve. And it's happening. I can see it happening. Every time I speak up a bit more, every time I do anything, the universe shows me that the timeline is sped up and that the positive energy has risen some more, which is good to know. That everything I put out and everyone else puts out, it raises the vibration of our planet, and it's going to make it a better place. I mean, nothing is ever going to be perfect, but it's got to be better than wars and starvation and pollution, controlling the masses. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. It is a sad world, and I don't know that I'll ever know or see it change fully, but I really want to see it change. The
collective showed me all the pieces of the puzzle and gave me many signs. I read that. Any signs? For a while, I thought somehow I had to save Earth from this growing darkness that I came across. I thought I needed superpowers or something to stop the evil from growing. I soon came to see that Earth doesn't need saving. It's humanity that needs saving. The Earth will wipe us out. The Earth will end us again. And we will be a forgotten species. Or if we are ever known in the galaxies, we are going to be known as the most evil, decrepit species that ever existed. It's pretty crazy. It turns out my superpower is just me and my truth. Overcoming my fear of the consequences of telling humankind what is really going on and letting it unravel itself. If it drags me down with it, at least I didn't go without a fight. So fists up, fight stance. What you gonna do, Angela? This was the hardest thing to write. My fear and adrenaline and shaking every time I read another word. All it's done really is made the people that I know are involved stay away from me, which is a good thing in a way. Not having to deal with the darkness so much. Maybe they're starting to make better decisions. They told me I was born of the darkness and meant for the light. Which is a pretty profound thing, really. I was born of the Illuminati. And I was meant for better things. I was meant for this. I had no idea what was really going on beneath the seemingly calm surface of our existence, and not many people do. They would have to play dumb for their whole lives so they don't have to sell their soul, hiding in the shadows as I have been for the last year. I know there's lots of people that know and don't agree with what goes on, but they do, they hide. They can't sum up the courage to say no, this is wrong, to talk about this, save some children, save the next generation of our planet, and save the planet in effect, because they're the ones, the next generation are the ones that make this a better place. Some others that know just give in and become embroiled in this service to darkness. But they still don't agree. They keep quiet and obedient because they have so much fear. They need antidepressants and usually self-medicate with drugs and alcohol to stop the pain and guilt taking over. And they're the ones that can't handle the pain and still have a conscience. They still love and they choose to do these things out of love. Love for self, love for their children. They're being threatened that they'll be killed. They'll be being threatened that they'll be ended, their life will end because they speak up, because they speak out against this. And maybe it will, but at least now I know this life isn't all there is to it. There's so much more. After this, we get another existence. Not in this same consciousness, I suppose, because right now we suffer amnesia. We don't know everything we've learnt before. But every now and again you get a deja vu and it comes back to help you. or it makes you realize the right decision to make it better. Anyway, I don't like either of the choices that I just gave. I don't want to hide in the shadows anymore, and I don't want to be of service to the devil, and I don't want to have to medicate myself. This is no way to live. The control that the darkness has over our planet is all about fear. Fear of suffering, fear of pain, fear of being alone. The biggest one, fear of death, fear of the unknown. I want you to know what I know, and you shall walk through life fearless. This isn't it. This is a test. This is all this is a test. It's your soul having to prove itself, and maybe time and time again. Eventually we all ascend, eventually we all make it, but right now we're all really struggling. The control that the darkness has over our planet is all about fear, and it's so, everything's controlled. Fear of not being able to put food on your table, so you'll stay in a job that you hate, stay in a job that makes you so unhappy, because that's the way they've set up this existence, that we don't have the freedom and we don't have the community to be able to support each other. Everything's segregated, everyone's separated from self and separated from love. Even if you do love, you love your family, you love your kids, you don't freely give your love to a stranger in the sense where you would give them your lunch money and go without a meal when they need a meal. Not many people do that anymore. What is the darkness? It is the Illuminati, the Cabal, devil worshippers, the Nazis. They are just people who have had their minds poisoned through insidious programming from a young age. They have lost themselves and ego rules their lives. They have been taught they are a superior race, and they have special genealogy in their DNA that makes their existence more worthy above all humans. They are closer than you even realize. They are actually a hidden part of our society, and they are everywhere. Your lover, your mother, your brother, your friend may be in service to the devil, and you may never know. That's the hard thing to come to grips with, that so many people can talk of love and say they love and say they want what's best, say one thing and do another. The collective told me how the Cabal have followed the wrong path, and this was not their intended purpose on Earth. The descendants of this God don't remember that they are just souls having a human experience, and their DNA was incorporated here to help humans evolve. The ego has taken over their lives, and now they also live their lives in fear while controlling others with fear and distraction so that they don't see the truth. And that's the thing. To start with, they thought they were superior, they thought they were here to save humanity, but humanity didn't evolve and didn't change, not as fast as they wanted. For our planet to ascend, we need to raise the vibration, and humans need to make changes, and it's a very hard thing to make people change. You can't make people change, really. They have to want to change. And I'm not sure, but maybe this is where we need to be to make that change, because we need to hit rock bottom before we realise we have to climb higher than we ever were. make it a better world and heal this place again. I know there are many living this life in darkness who have sold their soul. They feel there is no way out, and the truth is that there is no way you can give your soul to another. It is you, and it is part of the collective consciousness, and it is of God. It cannot be given to darkness unless you let darkness take you over. And that's really the thing. Everyone is a part of God. Everyone is part of the universe, the consciousness of the universe. We're all little fragments of it. And we are both good and bad. And it depends on which way you want to go. It's a pendulum, and it swings for everyone. You have bad reactions to things. You behave overly good in situations. We need to find a middle path. Otherwise, we're not going to make it through. One way too much, one way the other. Either way, you can't see reality for what it is. The collective have shown me why I am such a strong warrior, along with overcoming my fear and surrendering to my soul's purpose in life. I am not just here for those who are asleep. Without me, they will awaken in their own time, and there is no stopping that. I am here for those who are walking through this living hell and who are caught up in the darkness and want out. I am here to show you the light and the way home. I'm here to reach out my hand and say, you don't have to do this. You don't want to behave like this, and it saddens you, and it kills you inside, and you want out. You can get out. And they don't have ray guns to shoot you and give you a heart attack and kill you from a distance. They have to be close. And if you keep letting them close, that's how they're going to kill you. If you protect yourself, be conscious of the things that you do, be conscious of the things that you eat and you drink, and be conscious of who you have sex with, they can't get close to you. Anyway, I was thinking how more I can help humanity, how I can. If people need to reach out to me, you can message me on Facebook. My name is Angela Hargrave. I have a page called Universal Vegan. I have Instagram at universal.vegan, and I have just set up Skype account, and I think I'm going to start talking to people when they need me. I might have to set up a system where people can make appointments, but you can add me on Skype. It is Angela5Hargrave at bigpond.com. I'm going to do my best to make this world a better place just by being there for people. Our Creator God wants all to come home, no matter what you have done. At the moment, all souls on earth are stuck in a reincarnation cycle, and we are being called home, back to source. Right now, the energies that are flooding the earth, it's to help people awaken to the fact that this isn't just it. There's more to this. I read someone else's thing about when you die and you see the light, don't go towards the light. Take a bit of time, just a little bit of time, and focus and adjust your eyes. And I think it's your third eye, your soul. Adjust your vision and look around, because you're going to see more lights, more lives, more places. It's not just Earth, it's worlds, many, many more worlds that you can explore. And I think I've seen this. I'll get into that another time.
I wrote, just step through the door into the light. But after you die, don't go straight into the light. This life is where you start burning off the bad karma. Right here, right now. This is where you've got to start making your changes for your soul to ascend. This is where we have to start. And if you don't start, you start next time, or it gets harder, and you want to start because you're at rock bottom. I don't know if it's... I might have messed up my chapters that I printed off just so I could read them to you, but I arrived in my red van. I had dyed my hair purple when I would normally have gone for blue. I had my motorbike boots on and this handbag that I borrowed off my daughter. I had second thoughts about the shirt I was wearing and had changed before I left. And all these were significant, and when God showed me the chapters in Revelations, my mind was reeling. Really? Could this be, and why me? Revelations chapters. The significance of my hair being purple. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet and was glittered with gold, precious stones and pearls. She had a golden cup in her hand filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. And the bag I had these studs on it, gold studs, and it was a crown. And I didn't think anything of it until I looked at it. It was upside down, and I looked at it, and it looked like a cup filled with the abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. I couldn't get over that. I really couldn't. It was just so many little things. But these were the major things. And all this time I was getting many downloads from the collective as well. It was hard to keep it together. They told me how to survive, the ways I was being poisoned, and so my body was showing symptoms of multiple sclerosis, heavy metals in my food, opiates in my drink, sprays on cigarettes and in my makeup. The cabal were relentless, trying to make me think I was sick though the collective had already told me of their deceptive ways. Told me how to beat them at their own game, and at least enough to escape the place where I was. After one time of being poisoned, I went to another doctor to ask for a heavy metals test, and wouldn't you know it, I was given the answer that they don't know how to order that test. It was then that I realized how big and real this was, and I'm in more trouble than I think. There is no God coming to save you. This is one of the most devastating downloads after all the signs and help I received. How could it be that no power was going to come out of the sky and save us all? After all, this was the Christian faith. This is what the Christian faith had always alluded to. A saviour from heaven coming to gather all the good souls. The collective told me who they were and who God is. God is everything, everywhere. It is the beginning and the end, the light and the dark. God is you and God is me. The collective is God's consciousness, which is made of our consciousness. And we were created by this consciousness to experience life, to learn and to grow, to experience love above all things. They showed me the paradox that we are all one and we are all connected to the collective. Though we are fragmented, we are separate. Our experiences and our beliefs are forming our reality. They also showed me the strangest thing to get my head around, that there are many realities, many timelines caused by different decisions being made, though there are not many decisions that will ultimately change humanity's fate. So every time you make a decision, your life heads a little slightly different way, but eventually it comes back. It gives you a few different experiences, and eventually it comes back to that main line that your soul is meant to follow. And Earth is the same, and our existence here is the same. every now and again, there's a major decision we can make. And somehow a decision was made to control the masses, and that's what got us here. And right now, the masses need to wake up. We need to awaken. We need to take our power back, because we are the ones that create reality. We are the ones that work. We are the ones that cook and clean and control the way this civilization runs. Not those powerful people in offices that are powerful because they're not. They're powerful because you let them be. They told me that there are not many decisions that will change humanity's fate. And right now, we are at a point where we need to make better decisions. We have a bit of time. And every day I see better things happening. And I'm hoping that energy keeps going. But the whole time that this good energy is growing, this dark energy is dragging us down too. And it's this might help them go back into hiding a bit. Because like the yin yang, there's always going to be bad. No matter how good there is, much good there is, there's always going to be a bit of bad. And it's a flow and it's a cycle. And I've read a lot about where the Earth is at the moment in the universe. And we are at a point where good energy is coming again. But it doesn't mean that it's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. We have the ability, but we have to save ourselves. I thought that by just writing my story, that they may be changing. That may be the changing factor in this timeline. The most simple thing could be the most powerful. But like I said, it's easily buried and easily forgotten. And they told me my little story would be obsolete eventually, or very soon actually. And they're probably right. The way I published it, I didn't go all out. I didn't publish it and pay for it to be promoted and pay for it to be shared. I thought I did what I had to do. The hardest thing is overcoming my fear. Fear of death, fear of being labelled as crazy, fear of losing my children. They assured me that even if this was the thing to make the dark force just straight out assassinate me, there is life after death in the fact that we are all part of the collective. See, I still have fear because I enjoy this life and I don't want it to end right now. Oh, at times I thought it'd be better if everything just went away. But take a look around, look at this beauty that we are surrounded in, the magic that we are surrounded by. We take it for granted. And maybe this is what I needed, a big wake-up call to see life and appreciate life again. They told me that this is only an illusion, and that they have vaguely told me, but not explained in depth, to the reason why this is an illusion. And they said I'm too interested in knowing all the details instead of just passing the message on. They have told me how Earth's inhabitants were created by alien forces, the Anunnaki. These forces are like programmers able to change us and our reality, change our DNA. We worship them and their powers as gods. and that some were given the right to act as gods to the different races on earth, that this is just one huge divine play, a dream within a dream. They also told me that they are unable to return. They are at a different dimension or vibration now, and the earth is too dense for them now. So our vibration is very low. We need to raise the vibration. Although I've read a lot about the energies and the veil becoming thinner, and I have seen some things that you wouldn't believe. So the energy comes in waves, and every now and again they're able to get through that veil. They're able to come into our dimension, not in a solid state, but they're able to make changes, and they're able to show us who they are. The collective showed me that some timelines of Earth's existence are already living in a loving and peaceful place, and that some are in a much worse state than our planet. And they told me there is still time for us to change our destiny, but it is up to us to make this change. So they showed me a different, every time we make a decision it creates a new reality, but there's also another version where we made a different decision, and so there's many levels to this reality. Not this reality, but there's many levels to the universe. I have been told how Earth's inhabitants were not evolving, and were happy just living and worshipping their gods. But this is not the reason for existence, and that we're here to evolve and grow. So the Father God gave permission for another power to come to our realm, an addition to our DNA to help us evolve. This, I believe, was the ego, part of our psyche, making us strive and want for more. This is what the Creator God wants for us. While God is watching us all, experiencing itself, it wants us to be striving for the highest level of ourselves we can become. To become our higher selves. And if you stop, making a decision or reacting to something, and you stop and you think about it, and you find the best way to deal with whatever's going on, that's you connecting with your higher self to make the best decisions in whatever situation you're given. And it might be the hardest decision to make, but in the end product, the outcome is going to be the best for you and for everyone around you. So the ego is part of our psyche. It is also part of the collective consciousness of the universe. And this is why the earth is now an illusion. The ego wants to take over. So the collective had to put a sort of cap on the torus of our universe until we sort it. And that is all there is to it. So they stopped our planet from raising past a dimension, because right now ego controls our planet. And it's like a never-ending movie reel, over and over again, or all at the same time. Until we get it right, we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep suffering until we rise up, until we become a better species and realize that we're all human. We are all one species, and we need to work together to fix this. We're just gonna keep spiraling down. As above, so below, the battle is real. A battle inside ourselves to tame the ego. A battle in our lands to fight against greed and injustice. and most of all, a spiritual war in the heavens. Light versus dark, until we get it right. It's like Groundhog Day. Our planet keeps getting reset and we start the spiral again. And I've also been told that the only way to win a war is not to go to war. So how do you do that? How do you win? By not going to war. By changing, by being love like they told me to, by making better decisions. And one small act of kindness makes a world of difference in your life and in other people's lives. And that spreads, that becomes a ripple effect going out into the universe and into our existence. It is true that this present moment there are many more good and powerful souls alive on this planet than ever before. The souls of many beings of light, inhabitants from other realms, where love has won the battle for the soul. They have come with a mission. Many are still awakening, and many have been awake for quite a while, keeping their heads down, out of sight of the cabal. Many have been born with extra abilities and DNA upgrade to the average human. This is where our planet is headed. Full planetary ascension. The gods see humankind and they like us. And I wonder why the cabal harm our children, why they take our children, and why they feed them full of ego and separate them from their souls. And it's because they're powerful. They're more powerful than we ever were. They have abilities and they have powers they don't even know how to tap into. And that's what the cabal wants. They want to keep us all separate. They can see how we are still being held in the dark against our origins and our forgotten powers. The collective told me how this superior race, the cabal, believed they are, was introduced to help us evolve, so perhaps this is the DNA added to humankind. For some reason now that it is coming to fruition, they have chosen to control us and de-evolve us and stop our ascension. I believe that they are thinking that this is how they free their souls from their karmic reincarnation cycle. If they can make the world mostly evil, then they will be free from their duties and allowed to reincarnate elsewhere. I don't know that they even remember who they really are, and they're just being told who they are, because that's what happened to me. I still have amnesia. I still can't remember past lives. I can't remember past experiences I've had. But I've been told who I am, and I've been told what to do. Not told what to do, but given the option of what to do. And they also said if I didn't want to speak, that the gods would have to be okay with that as well. But this is what needs doing to help humanity. Sorry, but from what I understand, this is not the way. If we self-destruct as a species, it will be just a full planetary reset, and the same play will happen all over again. Same players, slightly different soul makeup. Each time, the collective hoping we get it right. I have a belief that if you were to DNA test many people, you would find that there has been a change to our makeup already. And it may not be that physical, because the universe, the signs, the things that they are able to do isn't always physical. It may not be a DNA change. If you taught every child to meditate, you'd find that somehow have extra abilities, extra powers that the average human doesn't have. That's for sure. I now know that many autistic children who are labelled as indigo or rainbow or crystal children are being taken by the cabal
and damaged so that they cannot perform and grow to their best ability. And all I can do is wonder why. Perhaps they have powers that the average person doesn't have. For some reason, the Bible speaks of two of my children, Isaiah and Justice. And one may be the key to this. Or maybe that's just what the Cabal thinks. One of them is the special one. One of them is the messenger. It would be good to know the truth, but what information do you believe? Even much of this experience, I questioned whether it was some sort of mind control. I questioned my reality. I didn't know if this was real. I didn't know if reality was real. I'm touching this rock. Is it real? It's real, but it's not real. And how could any of this be real? Because this is crazy. This isn't the existence I thought we had. All that we know is controlled information taught to us from a young age. Not much they tell us is clear with concise proof to back it up. Everything is used to control the human population and to stop us realizing our divinity and unifying for the one cause that the Creator God would like to see: human evolution and peace and love on earth. The collective wants us to become self-aware and realize our power as creators of our realm, to transmute the darkness into light, the hate and fear into love and acceptance, to begin to once again see God in everything and everyone and treat them as such. If you hurt another, you hurt yourself, and the ripple effect goes on. We need to help our planet and our human psyche heal from the generations of misguided and ill-informed abuse and neglect. We are the ones we have been waiting for, and now is the time to rise against the enemy of all that is good, but also learn to accept it as part of ourselves. We are both light and dark, good and bad. To fight a battle in ourselves, to fight the fear that keeps us silent, to not kill the ego, but to learn to use it to evolve and to keep it in check. To find a use for it. The collective has ego and used it to create us as we are. We have unimaginable possibilities to work towards, if only we can learn how to walk the middle line and stop this endless war on all planes of existence, to change our reality and the future of our planet and species, to feed our love and our ego, but always... Oh, that's where it's stopped. I am a funny person, but I copied and pasted this all very quickly from my website, and I have gotten it all out of whack. So maybe I should just talk. I have to talk about the Cabal. I have to talk about the other level of society that we don't even know is there, because every human inherently is good. And to take on these things must really fracture the mind, must really break a person, break their soul. So these people, they worship the devil. They worship darkness. And they think that's the way the world's gonna go, or should go. And the darkness is a part of everyone. It's a part of everything. It's ego. And if you don't control it, it will control you.
Anyway, for me, I can tell you what happened to me. Like I said, I was drugged, I was poisoned, I was taken places and shown places where these people meet in the middle of the night, in the middle of the week, and there's not many people around. Your loved one might drug you, might spike your drink, and might take you or might take your children to a place where they torture you and rape you and damage the children in ways you would never believe. And I'm hoping someone believes it. Like I said, I was classed as having MS, but I don't think MS is real anymore. I think it's just people damaging people they love. I'm a lot better now that I'm away from all the dark entities that are on this planet around me. But I still have to deal with them, and I see them everywhere. That's the hardest thing. But I can't ever allow them back into my life in a sense where they can hurt me again. But they still hurt the children, and that's the hard thing. There's so many children getting hurt all the time. I don't believe in a lot of illnesses anymore. I believe they're all man-made, or a lot of man-made. They want to see humanity suffer because it keeps the wheel going of having to buy and having to go to the doctor and having to have an MRI and having to have tests and things done to try and find a cure. It keeps other people working towards a cure and people pumping money into pharmaceutical companies and trying out different drugs and taking different drugs to try and find a cure to a disease that you're being given when you sleep, when you think you're safe with your family members and you're being harmed in your sleep. And for that fact, one of the signs I can look around and see from the cabal and the people that are involved in this, and that's what broke my heart to see, that they're everywhere. I first thought it was just a little pedophile ring in my town, and I called the police, but I realised I couldn't just call the police, that local police, because I'd already been shown that this cop was the one that should be the one I call, because anyway, and the collective showed me signs and gave me signs as the cabal was showing me their reality as well. The collective showed me who I should call, and it was a distant agency in Queensland, a pedophilia task force called Project Orion. And I called them and I told them my story, and people came to town, and I thought they'd be busted. I thought everyone was going to go down. Nothing's happened, and it's a year later and nothing's happened, and I can still see children being harmed. Because one of their signs, it's like they brag about it, one of their signs is to harm their children physically so that people can see, and they need glasses. They suffocate their children to the point that their vision gets damaged, and then they need glasses. So
if your child ever comes across and suddenly gets a turned eye and can't see properly, I suggest getting an MRI instead of just an eye test, because they're being damaged by someone you love. If it's not you, it's someone you love. And that's the hard thing. They've paired up with people who love. They have, their control is it's huge. It's not just the government, and it's not just the religions. It's in society. It's everywhere. And there's so many people involved, but there's so many people who are involved and unhappy and choose to take their own lives or choose to drown their sorrows in a certain way. And all it's going to take is for people to stand up. So they drug you, they take your children, they harm your children, and they threaten you that the Illuminati will kill you. And they tried. And they suffocated me in my sleep multiple times. And I woke up with a bit more damage each time. And you have no idea how hard it is for me to accept, or anyone to accept, that the person you love doesn't love you. The person that you love puts themselves and their existence as more worthy than you are. Because I'm the person that will sit here and I will stand up for other people, and I will speak my truth, even if it means they're going to come for me. It's who I am. That's enough for today.